Hello again. Welcome to another episode of Adult Sex Education. I'm Dr. Stephen Davidson, the Sexual Integrity Coach. A subscriber recently asked me to comment on the topic of gender and specifically to address the meaning of the term cisgender. I love to receive suggestions like this from subscribers, so I hope that you will subscribe and send me your own ideas for future topics. It's free to subscribe to this channel, and you will stay updated every week when a new topic is presented. Cisgender refers to individuals whose gender identity aligns with the sex they were assigned at birth. Usually a physician determines our gender based on the presence of a penis at the time of birth or on a sonogram before birth. If there is a penis, the physician concludes that the baby is a male. If there isn't, the physician concludes that the baby is female. Most of the time, this is a safe conclusion because the majority of people have a gender identity that aligns with their assigned sex at birth. But majority doesn't mean all. There are exceptions. We say that gender is a construct because so much of what we consider masculine or feminine is really determined more by culture than biology. Laws of nature are frequently inconsistent with the laws of humans, and frankly, nature doesn't give a damn whether you paint the nursery pink or blue. Your baby will grow up to identify themselves in the way they believe best describes who they know themselves to be. Nature embraces the whole spectrum. Pink and blue are just colors, so whatever association they have with gender has no roots in science. It is a construct made up by humans to influence cultural expectations of behavior. Throughout world history, humans have made up these gender constructs to influence how other humans receive education, legal rights, employment, social status, and access to resources, including money. Religion has also been influential in this process, promising hell to those who don't comply. These gender constructs were mostly developed to limit rights and oppress social advances by those who didn't conform. This kind of discrimination is referred to as sexism. Sexism is also at the root of discrimination based on sexual orientation. To partner or to have a sexual encounter with someone of the same gender has been considered the most extreme form of non-conformity to cultural gender expectations. In some parts of the world, it's still punishable by death. In recent years, more terms have emerged to identify the different ways someone might experience their gender. These have included terms like cisgender, transgender, gender neutral, gender fluid, intersex, and non-binary. While the terminology might be new to many, the concepts are not. Variations in gender identity and expression have existed in every culture throughout the history of humanity. This can be very confusing to those who only understand gender in terms of male or female, or for whom gender constructs are necessary for them to feel comfortable living in the presence of others. Witnessing another person cross the gender line is so threatening to some that laws have been enacted to enforce codes of dress and regulate where or if these gender offenders are allowed to use a public restroom. Most people in the world do identify as male or female based on how they were labeled at birth, and we refer to this as cisgender. If we think of gender on a spectrum from male to female, most of us don't fit exclusively in these binary categories based on sexist gender constructs. Some cisgender men do eat quiche, and some cisgender women pop their own gas. People might feel more comfortable identifying as non-binary because they don't want to be restricted by traditional black or white notions that limit self-expression and self-actualization. Those who identify as gender fluid can be comfortable presenting themselves as male, female, or somewhere in between. They might present differently at different times based on the circumstance, situation, or even their mood. The term gender neutral is used to reference people, places, and things that are not exclusively female or male, but can be available to anyone regardless of how they identify. Bathrooms can be gender neutral if they are open for anyone. Unisex is another term sometimes used in this example. Clothing can be gender neutral, not specifically designed for men or women, but for anyone who wants to wear it. Nursing is a gender-neutral profession, as both men and women can be nurses. Ironically, some people will add the word male in front of the nursing title to denote the gender of the nurse. The truth is that male nurses graduate from the same schools as female nurses, and aside from their name, their diplomas are identical. There is a hint of sexism associated with needing to state one's gender before their title when identifying their work. There are, of course, exceptions to this if a patient is more comfortable with a female nurse than a male nurse due to the nature of care they need or other relevant circumstances. Transgender is a term used to reference a person whose gender identity is different from their assigned gender at birth. A trans man might have been assigned female at birth based on the absence of a penis. However, while this person was labeled female, they might understand themselves more as male and better identify with a masculine identity. One might be referred to as a trans woman or trans female if they were born with a penis but identify more as female based on their personal experience of themselves. Some trans people might undergo sex reassignment surgery so that their physical appearance is more consistent with traditional manifestations of the gender they identify with. Not everyone who identifies as trans will pursue medical procedures to alter their appearance. Intersex is a term used to reference a person born with a combination of male and female biological traits. This makes up about 2% of all births. Sometimes this is physically apparent at the time of birth, and sometimes it isn't. Turner syndrome and Klinefelter syndrome are two examples. Historically, intersex children have been subjected to non-life-saving surgeries to alter their bodies and appearance in a way to make them appear more compliant with societal expectations. These procedures often come with serious physical and emotional complications that have devastating outcomes for these individuals. I recommend that you check out the website for Interact, an advocacy organization for intersex youth. You'll find a lot of valuable information at interactadvocates.org. Some folks are also confused by the fact that gender identity is completely separate as a concept from sexual orientation. While there are still those who look at a gay couple and wonder which one is the man and which one is the woman, most gay men and women identify as cisgender. Some individuals assigned female gender at birth identify as trans men who are attracted to men. Some trans women assigned the male gender at birth live much of their lives as men. They marry women, have children, and after they identify as trans women, they remain in their marriages to their wives. If you didn't catch all that, the bottom line is that gender identity does not predict sexual orientation. Just one more way sexuality is more complex than religion and politicians want you to understand. I'm sure a lot of you have passionate opinions about gender that you want to share with me. Some of you have likely identified a few other terms that I've left out of this gender soup, so feel free to comment and let me know what I missed. In conclusion, every human should have the right to their own body and their own identity. If it's not your body, then it's not your business. I'm Dr. Stephen Davidson, the Sexual Integrity Coach. I hope you will like or share this video. Please subscribe to my channel and send me more ideas for topics you want me to discuss. You'll find links to both of my books on my website at sexualintegritycoach.com. Those books include Sexual Integrity, Finding the Courage to Be Yourself, as well as Peaceful Mind, Peaceful Life, the guidebook to happiness.